Hello you! Today we are reviewing QUEENSRYCHE's Rage for Order, the remastered version of 2003. And many may wonder why not Operation Mindcrime. Well, it would be too easy, and Rage for Order has two main reasons to be important for this review. First, it has an historical value. It's the first true progressive metal album ever released, even if some claim it might be the Spectre Within from Fate's Warning, but I disagree for a number of reasons. And secondly, because Geoff Tate's vocals were at his peak, because during the Rage for Order tour, his voice started deteriorating because of the early bridging technique. In this album, he used wide vibrato, and his clean 5-octave range is at his best, and that's because he had a lot of training with Seattle maestro David Paul Kyle, who is also popular poly-instrumentist. We also have to say that Rage for Order and Operation Mindcrime are strictly connected. First, the closing track in Rage for Order is I Will Remember. In Operation Mindcrime, the opener is titled I Remember Now. Secondly, the title track for Rage for Order, which has never been released, contained a riff which has been recycled for Anarchy X from Operation Mindcrime. QUEENSRYCHE recurred to Neil Kernon for Rage for Order, who brought his mobile unit from Montreal to a hired parking office. Neil Kernon is known for his works for Kansas, Dokken, Peter Gabriel, and so on. And he used all the tricks for this record, and we also don't have to forget the contribution from David Ogilvie, who was responsible for forging the sound of Nine Inch Nails and Skinny Puppy. And together they used state-of-the-art technology to give this record better sound than The Warning, still powerful, polished, but majestic at the same time, and dark in many aspects. So I think they have definitely hit the bullseye with these two guys. The main characteristics of Rage for Order are a massive use of synths, keyboards, acoustic guitars, complex arrangements, and several time variations. The problem why it was not well received back then was that in 1986 several important metal albums were released. For example, Master of Puppets, Darkness Descends, Turbo, Somewhere in Time, Zombie Attack, Epicus Dumicus Metallicus, and if we go on the melodic side, we have Invisible Touch, A Kind of Magic, and Slippery When Wet. Rage for Order is a progressive metal album, but we could also define it as high-tech precision power metal, for those who like categories. This album was too cerebral. It was identified as the thinking man's favorite act album, and it was too ahead of its time. It was too cerebral, and many people weren't prepared for that. Several metalheads missed understanding that it was the connection between bands such as Judas Priest and Iron Maiden on one side, and progressive rock bands such as Rush, Marillion, or even some Pink Floyd on the other. Most of its lyrics were composed by main guitarist Chris DeGarmo, and they are based on unreality and uncertainty. They deal with three main themes: love, technology, and government. They tell a story about a dystopian society in a near future where the government has found all the ways to control and manipulate everybody, and just a few humans are able to respond in an emotional manner. We have to say that Queensryche were very into the Vampire Chronicles in 1985 and 86, and as well as William Gibson's cyberpunk classics. The booklet, especially in the remastered version, stresses out the well-educated musician image they wanted to give. So there are images related to literature, math, architecture, and philosophy. As to the best songs, I have chosen opener Walk in the Shadows because it's their best card being played immediately. There are incredible vocal acrobacies by Geoff Tate. And there are also super high operatic vocals where Tate gives his best, because you can see he's more than a mere vocalist. He lives them. He's so prepared that he enters the character, and he gives you something more than just reciting some vocal lines. The other track I recommend you is Gonna Get Close to You, which is the only cover song Queensryche ever made. It is accompanied by an official video, and it was originally written by Canadian artist Lisa Del Bello. It was originally a dark pop synth song. It became an interesting progressive metal song where waiting preparatory lines where the stalkerish idea is given, contrasting with the more powerful and punchy prog metal parts. I really like this contrast, and I encourage you to listen to this song with more attention than many usually do. The last song I want to recommend you is the closing track, I Will Remember, because there are interesting dark synths. The vocal lines are top-notch, and it's one of the songs that is usually brought live, and it's no coincidence. The importance of the album is not only in the fact that it's the first true prog metal album, but also because of the structure. Unlike many progressive metal bands, which start from a riff and then build up the rest, the vocals and the rhythmic section changes, etc. Queensryche have always composed everything together, so there is during the composition an interplay between the melodic themes, the vocals, the riffs, and parts delivered by keyboards or synths. Everything came out together, and you can definitely hear why this is an album that stands out from its competitors. Despite this, this album is still pretty underrated, and it has always sold less than Operation Mindcrime, The Warning, or The Empire. So I submit you listen to it with more attention, and I recommend you to be open because Operation Mindcrime is the magnum opus. Rage for Order is the sketch before the final drawing, but it's in itself Queensryche's second masterpiece. Thanks to all those who liked, commented and subscribed to my channel. To the next review!